Welcome back to another episode of the Biker PM. I'm your host, Anthony Pavlich. Today we have part 2 with Eliza Maroney. If you haven't listened to the first part, stop now and go back and listen to it. Let's continue. I also want to go back and touch on the fact that you're doing this with your husband, because a lot of entrepreneurs are solopreneurs, and so they really don't have anybody to bounce ideas off of. And sometimes they have. I interviewed not too long ago a set of twins, a man and a woman that had a business together, siblings. But as business owners, how is it working with the one you love and you're with 24 hours a day?
It is incredibly difficult. I would not recommend it to anyone. I really would not. And, I think our long-term vision, it does not include us working together in such a close capacity, because also just our personality types, we both need a place to shine. And so it makes it very difficult. But we have amazing communication skills. We are able now, after trial and error, to delineate the difference between family time and business hours, which really in our home, because our business is open from 9 to 9, really for us it's 9 to 9, but there have to be pockets of time where it's nope, we're not talking about business right now. We are with our family. We are focused. So it's really trying and tiresome at times. But at the same time, you both know that you are focused on your business, which really ends up being the business of your family. And we always say those are two separate things. There's the business of your family, which is taking care of your home, your children, your pets, whatever that is for you. And then there is your business. And for us, it's one and the same, but you have to be able to tell the difference between the two. And anyone who wants to get into business with their partner or thinks that it's a good idea, I just urge them to have an outlet outside of the home and outside of business that is all theirs. And that's the one thing that has kept us very happy and very centered and grounded. He plays hockey. And he plays hockey on a team twice a week. And I have my yoga, and that is my thing. And I have my yoga classes that I teach. It's really important to have an outlet. That's all I can say.
I think that's actually important now, even without, if you, as entrepreneurs or people, for everybody that's working from home, or if you're both working from home right now, I think that's important to have those separate outlets, because even if you're not running a business together, you're really working together still 24 hours a day, or you're living together 24 hours a day right now with, so much virtual work happening because of the pandemic. So I think that's actually a good point for anybody right now, is if
get a hobby.
Yeah, exactly. Get a hobby.
If you don't have a hobby, you need a hobby. And every entrepreneur needs a hobby, because we need to stay creative. We need to stay inspired. And, he also paints. He hasn't painted in a little while just because this year has been so crazy. But we're both musicians. That is kind of our couples therapy, is making music together. So
Nice.
We jam at night once our baby goes to sleep, and we're all right, now it's our us time. And our us time is to make some music, at least a few songs,
That's beautiful.
And I think, there's something that a lot of people are missing in their worlds right now, is a hobby or something else that drives them.
I actually, something I never thought I would do. I mean, besides getting on my Harley, which I love, I took up knitting and crocheting during the pandemic.
Wow, that's awesome.
Well, there was a news story here in Canada about a couple of women that were doing a memorial quilt for the victims of COVID in Canada, kind of like they did for the AIDS quilt in the US.
Yes.
So I started knitting squares for it, and then I was like, well, crocheting seems easier. But so, I mean, I've made sweaters, blankets, scarves, slippers,
that's awesome.
bathrobes. I have done so much over the last couple of months. It's been quite ridiculous. Shawls for family members, for the neighbor. It's just, but it's interesting, because it has been able to get that creative side out of me, like that you said, even though, because a lot of it, some of them I've done by patterns. Others I've looked at different patterns and I've just made something.
How fulfilling is it, though, to touch someone else's life too? Because that is not just for yourself. It's when you give it to someone, they know that time and energy was put into this, and it keeps people connected, and it fosters that sense of connection that we're all so desperately craving right now.
Yes, exactly. And it's especially when you can't connect physically, at least you can connect emotionally in some sense.
That's awesome. I love it.
So let me back to kind of, you were talking about, women as entrepreneurs. What kind of advice would you give to other women that were wanting to, or other minorities that were wanting to start a business and become an entrepreneur, but just didn't know where to start? What would some advice you would give?
My advice is do your research. If you can, in any way, shape, or form, find someone to be your mentor. You don't have to do it alone. It may feel like you're doing it alone. And yes, at the end of the day, you have to execute your to-do list and you have to get the things done. But you don't have to make the same mistakes that others have made. Continue to read or listen to audiobooks. I have a major list of audiobooks that I'm always listening to. And yes, you can find time to read or listen to audiobooks. I don't care what you do for a living or how many kids you have. There is a way and there is time. And continue to challenge yourself to be better, to do better, and to learn more.
I have to say that's the other thing is I used to, and I haven't done it. I think the last couple of weeks, 6 weeks, probably 4 to 6 weeks, I've kind of backed off on it as podcast. I used to listen to a lot of podcasts, and you can just listen to them when you're doing menial things, laundry, dishes, whatever. You say you can find time. You can find time to listen and help.
I have a 10-month-old son, so we have a baby. And my audiobook time is in the mornings when I take him on our walk in our neighborhood. Yeah. I put on my headphones, and that's my me time where I am bettering myself, allowing him to get some fresh air before I take him off to school. It's very, very simple, but that is like 40 minutes. That is all mine where I am learning something new. And usually I come into the office and I'm like, you guys, I heard all these amazing things. Have you known XYZ about habits and this and that, it's really fascinating what you can learn without having to pick up the book and read. You can do other things while you're still taking in information.
Do you feel overwhelmed, overstimulated, and overworked? There's so much you need to do, but you don't know what the best way to do it is? And you're not sure where all your time goes each week? Jump on over to my website, pavproconsulting.com. You can download my free PDF, The 5 Proven Strategies to Steal Back Lost Time and Money in Your Business. And while you're there, you can book a free process discovery session, pavproconsulting.com. Move forward with confidence, focus, and productivity. The one thing I really do, and I do this quite a bit when I'm listening to podcasts too, is I may not fully grasp what I'm hearing at the time because something may be able to, take my attention, but you can rewind them.
Yes.
There is that rewind button. It's like, oh my God. Or if you want to hear it again, because you just want to you want to make sure that you grasp and then go back later and listen to it and write it down. You got it.
Or drive time. I mean, I've stopped listening to music. I mean, I listen to music on the weekends or if it's a festive time, but if I'm driving, I'm either listening to BBC News just because I want to know what's happening in the world, or I'm listening to my audiobooks. And that's really valuable time. We don't need to listen to all the commercials and all the, we call it McDonald's for your ears that, they're pumping into radio.
That's the other thing about the hobbies too. It's like crocheting and that. It's kept me off of social media and getting upset at everything that's going on in the world. So the audiobooks and stuff like that, as well as hobbies, can help prevent and reduce stress because you don't have that constant barrage of negativity or
absolutely. It's
other important things. If you want to get into politics that you shouldn't.
The distractions of the world.
Yeah. So on top of, your advice, what is a resource? So you listen to lots of books, you've listened to all these. What is one resource that you think every entrepreneur should listen to or read? Or what's your favorite?
I most recently listened to The Power of Habit. I thought it was a really fascinating read from both the standpoint of a marketing standpoint, as well as building habits within the workplace and within your own life and understanding why you're doing what you're doing and how you can be more efficient. I thought that was a fascinating read. Right now, I'm reading Culture Code, and Culture Code has been all about building workplace culture and understanding how we can become better communicators and more efficient as well. So, I mean, those are the two more recent reads that I've kind of been diving into, and I'm taking lots of examples, teaching my team based on the things that I'm learning. And I think that's important. For me, habits are number one, though, and I'm always fascinated by books on habit in general, partially because I'm focused on sales and understanding how I can be a better marketer for our company and why people are buying what they're buying and how we can change those habits or use those habits to our advantage so that they feel more secure spending their money with us. And then the other side of it is just understanding what we're doing in our office or in our warehouse and habitually where we're spending excess amounts of time or how we can better be communicating with each other in general.
Two great pieces of advice. Two great resources. They sound amazing. I agree with you on the habits and culture. And especially when you have a larger or a team of multiple people, getting everybody on the same page and building those habits to be more productive and efficient.
Yeah, Yeah, and it's interesting as an entrepreneur as well, because oftentimes we are just going to assume that like being an entrepreneur is by ourselves, but even if you don't have lots of employees, you're going to need additional people you're working with, whether it's a graphic designer that's on salary or that is just on a project basis. You're going to need a nice website. You're going to need assets created in general, whether it's clothing, stickers, or social media people, or if you are communicating with your lawyers, or for us, we spend the most amount of time on compliance because we're in a very highly regulated industry. And those people are not necessarily our employees, but they are our teammates and they're people that we work with. So there's something to be said for that.
No, I fully. I mean, even if they're not on your payroll, you still have to work with them well and come and have a good working relationship, understand how each other works, and create a culture, like you to use that word, of understanding and trust.
Yes.
So before we go, is there anything else you would like to say about your business, and where do you think you want to go in the next couple of years with your business? Now, that's funny because I heard somebody say, or I saw a meme a couple of weeks ago that, everybody always asks this question, where do you see yourself in 5 years? But 5 years ago, nobody got that question right because of where we are today. But where do you see, going next?
Yeah, I mean, I think, within the limitations of cannabis and its legal status within the United States, at least, we are only able to serve customers that are within our delivery radius of like where our actual hubs are, right? So right now we're only based in Northern California. So in the next 5 years, I envision us being at least statewide, and then hopefully expanding to other states that also have delivery available. And that means really building all of our processes to such an efficient state where we can franchise and build outward. So that's our focus right now. And we're really excited to hopefully expand to LA in early 2021 and jump through whatever hurdles that's going to take us through and learn and continue to grow together and building really amazing partnerships.
And how can people find out more about you and the Lucky Box?
Yes, they can learn more about us at luckyboxclub.com. And if they are interested and looking for just a hemp-based CBD box, they can order that at luckyboxclubcbd.com.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Eliza. I appreciate it. It's been a great conversation with you today.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Biker PM. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. And remember, if you're an entrepreneur that wants to be with like-minded individuals and improving their project management skills, join the Biker PM Facebook group. Until next time.